This is Miche Fambro, back at JamPlay.com. And in this segment, we're going to talk about vocals and guitar accompanying other musicians and, some aspects of playing with the band. Now we're back, and we're going to discuss some aspects of playing and singing. One of the things that a lot of people, well, I've been asked this certainly quite a bit, and there's the whole feeling of accompanying yourself, and how can you get used to being able to sing and play. And if you're playing, complicated rhythms and singing, together, how can you do that? I have a problem. I have a problem trying to sing and play. What can I do, about all that? Now, of course, the simple answer to that is always to practice, practice, practice. But there's something else that you need to keep in mind when it comes to all this. Practice is a component of everything. So, of course, you can just assume that. But one of the other things about all this is pretty much it's all mental. It really is. Now, okay, so you would consider me, yes, I'm a professional. That is to say that, yes, I spent years playing around and doing this stuff for quite a while. But I have to tell you that on some nights that I get nervous, and yeah, I get nervous, and all of a sudden I'm really thinking about what I'm doing, that's when I tend to screw up. Where all the other times I just do it and everything is fine. Now, think about it. Here you are trying to learn to do something, and all you're doing is thinking about doing it. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, and you're gonna screw up a lot. So basically, you have to just keep doing it, keep doing it. If you want to call it practice, you can call it practice. But the definition of common sense is when something is done so much, so often, it becomes common to your senses, and therefore it becomes easy. So that's pretty much another important component of learning how to do this. Just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and try not to think about it. You'll be fine. And eventually you'll forget and think about it, and then you'll start screwing up again. Just do it. Don't think about it. In this scene, we're going to talk about musicians, guitarists. What exactly does that mean? Isn't a guitarist a musician? No, not necessarily. There are two distinct things. And of course, now I need to explain that. Basically, a musician is someone that understands the components, the elements of what it takes to basically make a song. So in this sense, if we're talking about pop music and folk music or whatever, you understand the importance of dynamics. You understand that when you are playing with a singer, for example, that your job is to make them sound good. So I can think of, back in the formative years of my playing, and I would spend days, hours practicing, doing all this crazy stuff. And next thing you know, I'm inside one of these bands at, with a singer and 40 guys. And there I am doing all this stuff, and they're just looking at me, and I don't get hired. And there's the guy who gets hired doesn't do anything. He's like, he's lame, but he gets the job. How naive on my part. The reason why he got hired was because he did the simple things that it took for those singers to sound really good. And only thing I was thinking about was me, and basically doing all this crazy stuff that their audience could care less about. So a musician understands, these things. You realize that, granted, we all want to play really well. We all want to play, really great. But that has nothing to do with being a musician. Being a musician has to do with, as I said before, really thinking about all the elements around you. Being a gentleman in terms of playing. Oh, wow, there's 4 people here. The keyboard is playing. The keyboard is doing something. Let me pull it down so you can hear what that guy is doing. Okay, great. This is good. As compared to basically some people who, are just thoughtless and selfish. They don't think about anybody else on the stage. They're just playing. That's what's known as a bad musician. So yes, there is definitely a difference between an instrumentalist, a great instrumentalist, and a musician. And I will take a musician anytime. In this segment, we're going to talk about singing, some aspects of singing that might be helpful for you. In the same way that there are many different types of musical styles and vocal styles, it's the same thing. And for me, I like to say that I'm not a great vocalist. I just do an impersonation of one. Pretty much the way I see it is, if you think, one thing that people do when they approach vocals is they approach it from a very serious perspective, like, oh my God, I'm singing a song now. So, so you get in this serious mode, and then you try to sing, and it's just not working. It sounds pretty lame, and you feel that it sounds pretty lame. One of the things that I like to do, to me, I see singing as acting. In the same way that, that you can play with your voice, whether you're doing impersonations, accents, it doesn't really matter. You're just goofing with your voice. I mean, I played in this, in Montana, and they hated me up there. And this old dude came out there and he said, Shun, we don't like your music here in Montana, but we know it's good. Okay, playing with your voice, just goofing around, some old guy. Cartoon, Simon Says 100, Simon Bar Sinister, one of my favorites. Bullwinkle, anything, any kind of voice thing you can play with. An opera singer. So now I'm going to eat some beans, and I don't know. But most people will have no problem goofing around with these kinds of things. But when it comes to singing, all of a sudden they get very serious and nothing happens. Approach singing the same way. Now, this doesn't mean that your voice is going to sound great. This means that part of being a good singer is kind of knowing your zone. We all love Dylan, don't we? Yes. We all love Neil Young, don't we? Most of us, yes. Are they great singers? No. Don't mean to offend you, but they're not. But what makes them so alluring? Character and conviction. You see, even if you have the lamest voice, if you sing those words and you just sing because you just love to sing, and you put everything into it, to the listener, that connects with us. We love that. And so just remember that. It's okay. Just give it everything you have. Love what you're doing. And when you have fun, everyone else has fun. Now, it's always a good idea to do whatever you can to improve your voice. So if you want to take lessons, oh, that's going to be great. But that has nothing to do with performing a song and having fun. And you'll find that if you do that, people will really like that. There's some really great vocalists out there that just don't connect with people at all. Maybe because they're very hung up on the fact that they are so great, but not connecting, with people. There's maybe no love there compared to somebody that's just awful. But boy, you can just see that they just love what they're doing and they're giving it everything. And that really counts a great deal for me, and actually quite a lot of listeners as well.